It's a Saturday morning, you've been down the Pitsea Market.
Yep.
Some people might say that's shooting fish in a barrel for votes.
Ooh.
But here you are in Horndon Hill, and this is the Heartland. How much of a challenge is it here?
See, I've never seen anywhere as heartlands or no-go areas. And ever since I've been the MP, I've worked everywhere. And I've been the MP here for 13 years, whereas Pitsea is new to me. It's not been my constituency before. So I get a good response. I like Horndon. I really love Horndon. I've got a lot of friends here. I've made very good friends here over the years. So we're just going to go around, knock on a few doors and talk to people. I've been to the Wall Market already. So it's always fun campaigning here.
And people may have a certain impression of Horndon that it's totally blue, but that may not entirely be true.
Oh no, absolutely not. We've got a large number of Labour Party members in Horndon and lots of supporters. But no, I'm not sure this election is going to be the traditional red and blue type election. I'm quite surprised the number of people who have said to me, well, we haven't voted Labour before, but we are this time. Now, that's not what you'd expect to hear, really, if you look at the polls. But that's the message I've had already today from several people. So I'm encouraged, and we're going to work hard to try and win this election.
What are the hard questions you're being asked on the doorstep?
Hard ones, well, different things affect different people. There's a whole range of issues. Housing comes up a lot. Because we do need more homes for people, and people are often worried about their children growing up and where they're going to live. So that does come up quite a bit. I think also from the pensioners, their standard of living. They like their bus pass, their winter fuel, and they really want to keep that. So those kind of issues, but every house has a different issue.
And what about nationally? How do you think things have gone even in the last 7 days?
It's interesting. I probably watch less on television than anybody else because I'm out and about. What I think is coming through on the national issues is the economy is still the number one issue. We're moving towards coming out of recession, but we're not there yet. And there's a lot of concern about let's not put that at risk. We're worried about it. So people want to know what we're going to do to keep people in jobs, to keep people in their homes. And that must be what all parties must be hearing from people who obviously worry about the future.
Lord Mandelson said Labour need to be returned in order to finish the job. The Tory candidate across the board, Jackie Doyle-Smith, said to us, well, the country will be bankrupt then. How do you respond to that?
Absolute nonsense on her part. I think across the world it is recognised that we've done pretty well in this recession compared with how we've handled other recessions in this country. And that doesn't mean no one's lost their job or their home. If they have, it's an absolute tragedy for anyone. And that's why we've tried to prevent that happening wherever we can. And fewer people have lost their homes or their jobs in this recession compared with any other recession in this country. And I talk to people who from the 1990s recession are still paying off debts because they lost their home then. So I think we're getting through the recession, but we're not through it yet. So we've seen fewer people lose their jobs than we expected. That's really not good enough for me. Well, I want to see us grow the economy and get more people into work and protect people from losing their jobs.
But do you think that the references to 1980s that we saw last Saturday, do you think, personally, or as I said, from Essex, people from Essex think that was a really good time?
Every time is a good time for somebody, isn't it? In any type of problem, some people always make money and some people always do well, but the majority don't. And there were things about the 80s that people liked, but also an awful lot of people that struggled during the 80s. I was in Pitsea. I remember my dad being out of work for some time. I remember my friend's dad being out of work for some time. Nothing hits a family harder than not being working. I think governments have a duty and obligation always to look at keeping people in work. I also remember, my first mortgage, an interest rate of 15%. Who could ever afford an interest rate of 15% on the prices we see now? So those kinds of issues, I think we need to remember what the 80s was like as a whole, not just the good bits that some of us want to remember. We always prefer to remember the good times, don't we?
Do you think the Tories are, in some ways, it's quite a dilemma that they have to discuss the economy, but yet that, in many ways, is seen as Gordon Brown's ace card?
It's also, if you look at how the Tories talk about the economy, on every single issue they've got it wrong. They've never actually had a proper strategy of what they would have done during the recession. When we said we wanted to put money into the economy to protect homes and jobs, we had Tories saying, let the recession run its course. Had we done that, we might have a national debt, but an awful lot more people would be suffering from personal debt and personal crises at the moment. So I think the government has a duty to intervene to try and help people. That wasn't the Tory policy. So yes, they're on a sticky wicket on this one.
And finally, there are no Lib Dem candidates standing for council in the whole of the Thurrock Unitary Borough area. Are you hoping that people who will go to the polling station perhaps vote Lib Dem for Jeff Williams or Karis Davis will then perhaps have a think about Labour on the same for the local election?
Well, I hope they will, because I think it's important we look at electing the government as well as looking at local MP. But we're the only party who's putting up candidates in every seat. The Conservatives didn't even fight East Tilbury at the last local elections, and we've always taken the view that if we expect people to vote for us in a general election, local elections are also very important to us. Not everything happens at national level. A lot of important services are dealt with by local councils at local level, and I get a lot of dissatisfaction brought to me from the local council where people were very unhappy how the council's responded. So we're out to take control of Thurrock Council as well as win both parliamentary seats.